The veterinarian pulled out her phone as soon as she viewed the ultrasound of the dog, who had refused to give birth. Puppies are cute, but as this dog discovered in 2016, it may be challenging for their mother and dog to bring them into the world at times. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Both Chris and Mariessa had a strong passion for animals and would stop at nothing to aid those in need. The couple's life was anything but dull at the time of this narrative. In fact, they were already the proud parents of 10 boisterous dogs. Because of her intense affection for these creatures, Mariessa had always thought that her previous relationships had failed. Her then-partner was unable to comprehend her desire for a big family of four-legged companions. He was afraid they would be too much for him. But then she met Chris, who appeared to share her passion for dogs. As they got to know one another, their initial bond only became stronger every day. The couple's top priority was to aid pit bulls as they were one breed in particular. They both believed that the negative reputation these dogs had been given by the mistreatment they had suffered at the hands of others, and they were determined to save as many of the animals as they could, since they knew that if they failed to do so, they would be put down. Even with 10 dogs at home now, Chris and Mariessa felt there was still more they could be doing to support this misunderstood breed. They made the decision to go to Pebbles and More Animal Rescue, a local animal shelter. The shelter was willing to assist any animal that came in, but because they knew pit bulls were among the hardest animals to rehome, they concentrated a lot of their efforts on doing so. The two good-hearted individuals had no idea that their lives would soon take a turn for the better as they surveyed the area and observed all of the waving tails and smiling faces. Because of their massive, muscular appearance and frequent portrayal in movies as vicious attack canines, pit bulls are sometimes misinterpreted. It was not odd at all to find so many of this breed at the local shelters, as owning a pit bull is even outlawed in several jurisdictions. Having had their fair share of adopted pits, Chris and Mariessa were aware of this, but they were still unable to pinpoint the main issue. The pair wished to assist in whatever manner they could and to do more. They were still unaware of the type of situation they were getting themselves into. Given their enormous furry family at home, Mariessa had told her husband she would only adopt one dog. But she realized it would be a tough decision as she surveyed the facility. She then saw one of the creatures. It was a pit bull that was quite pregnant. The dog's tummy bobbed as she lurched over to give the pair a hearty greeting. She had a lovely brindle coat, and Mariessa fell in love with her at first lick of her rough pink tongue. Aware that she would soon be pregnant, the woman realized she couldn't abandon such a helpless animal. She then proceeded to ask a staff member whether she might be adopted. However, Mariessa's heart fell when she discovered the dog's situation in the shelter. She discovered that the pregnant pit bull's name was Story, and that when she became pregnant, a backyard breeder had given her up because they could no longer afford to care for her and the upcoming babies. When Mariessa and Chris discovered this tragic development, they realized they couldn't abandon the soon-to-be mother. If there was anything else they had to know about the dog, they inquired. At that moment, the staff informed them that the dog was supposed to give birth to 6 little puppies a week ago, but no one was sure why she hadn't. Chris and Mariessa just needed to look at the shelter workers' worried expression to realize what was going on. Story needed help, and she needed it quickly. Mariessa couldn't bear to part with the dog, even if she was a little nervous about taking care of Story and her 6 puppies. That would be 17 dogs in total, when it came to looking after canines. At that point, Chris decided to foster Story, while the shelter looked for her and her babies to go forever. That's what they actually did. However, the pair still needed to address the reason of the dog's infertility. The pair had never dealt with a situation like that before, so as their concern grew, they decided to look up some information on the dog's behavior online. They found that although dogs are aware that rescue shelters exist to assist them in some way, they might yet feel uneasy and threatened when they are there. This puts both the mother and her puppies in danger, because pregnant dogs only want what's best for their young and will delay giving birth if they feel uncomfortable. Chris and Mariessa felt anxious right away, and realized they needed to visit the veterinarian as soon as possible. After the couple arrived to the vet, Story had an ultrasound to determine the precise nature of the problem, but everyone was horrified by what she found out. The vet shook her head and pulled out her phone as she counted the slender white lines of the individual puppies. She snapped a short photo of the monitor and then turned to face Chris and Mariessa. The veterinarian inhaled deeply before informing the couple that Story really had 12 puppies in her tummy, not the 6 as they had previously assumed. Though shocked and ecstatic, Chris and Mariessa were concerned about the mother dog. Why wasn't she pregnant yet? There was no explanation from the vet. The mother dog ought to have given birth by now, but the pups were healthy, so she wasn't concerned about the animal's health at this time. She then sent them all home to be ready for the big day and instructed the couple to bring the dog in for another exam if Story hadn't given birth within 48 hours. Even when Mariessa got home, she wasn't entirely at ease with Story's circumstances. However, when researching how to assist a dog in giving birth, they learned that she most likely want her own private area to feel secure in. In order to provide the dog a sense of security and comfort, the pair organized a bedroom and added cozy cushions and blankets. They didn't want to bother her too much, so she may be completely comfortable in her environment. Thank goodness, their strategy succeeded, and Story gave birth to all 12 of her puppies the same night, all of them healthy and alive. After the puppies' eyes had opened for 2 weeks, Mariessa and Chris were becoming fonder of them every day. Before long, the tiny dogs were romping about the lawn on their wobbly legs. Story seemed happy and to be a dedicated mother to her children. She enjoyed feeding them and licking them all over. Chris and Mariessa watched devotedly. This mother could finally relax because she was safe and sound after all that she had gone through. All 12 puppies still needed to find homes, though. When the puppies were mature enough to stop nursing, Mariessa reached out to the neighborhood shelter to see if they would be interested in assisting with their adoption. With great pleasure, the shelter granted the request, and soon the rescue center was inundated with adoption requests. Despite their intense attachment to each puppy, the couple chose not to retain any, and one by one, each puppy found a loving home. They were adopted by new family at the age of 10 weeks, and they flourished in their new homes. Fortunately, Story was able to find her permanent home not too long after all of her puppies were adopted. A man was eager to meet Story after reading about her amazing story on Facebook. He welcomed her into his house right away after falling in love. Journey's journey would have turned out quite differently if not for incredible individuals like Chris and Mariessa. Story's story is only one of many, and she was able to live a happy life because of a committed shelter and a couple that adored the breed. Please share your thoughts with me on this incredible tale. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.